I'm Christian Abbott.
I'm Nathan Lavender.
I'm Sean Abbott.
And this is the Red Mist Podcast.
Welcome to episode 1 of the Red Mist Podcast. This is a racing podcast which covers F1, NASCAR, Indycar, sports cars, our own racing adventures, and other adventures. Gents, where should we start tonight's episode?
Formula One.
Nathan, great choice.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so they raced at Australia.
Yeah, Albert Park.
That was
Albert
the last
Park.
race. I guess recap from the first two races. Charles Leclerc won the first one. Max Verstappen wins the second one. And now we go into Australia with Red Bull on the back foot, Ferrari leading the helm, Mercedes. We don't really know where they're fully at because they're still figuring them out.
And McLaren floundering.
Yeah.
Right, just hanging out in like fifth place, if you will, just like lurking at the podium spots.
Lurking.
Well, and then I heard afterwards, after this past race, Mercedes were like, "Oh, we're like the fifth fastest team." I'm like,
Really?
I was like, I don't.
Well, George actually said, I'd rather have a slow car and finish versus having a fast car and not finish.
Okay, says the Williams graduate driver.
Right. He's driving on pretty much the most dominant car over the last 7 years.
Right.
Right. Okay. Oh, there you go. Strong words from George. Anyways, moving on. Practice and I thought practice sessions went pretty much the way, it was kind of a toss-up between Max and Charles. And, when I think Carlos and Sergio. So, I mean, it wasn't, again, it was just showing the dominance of, those two cars. And, again, Mercedes was just constantly just lurking, not improving, not slipping back. But I think they were more looking over their shoulder to see what was coming versus looking forward. So that's kind of, I think, my take on practice. But, I will say this. I thought the Aston Martin team put on a fantastic show during practice. So, I mean, I'm sure the crew members were ecstatic over the late nights that they put in.
Yeah, dare I say it's scooting ahead, right?
Scooting. Oh, yeah. No pun intended.
Yeah, no
Nate.
pun intended.
No pun intended. I might get fined for that.
Yeah, that might be. Yeah.
That might be a
It
fine.
Might be a fine or something.
I don't know really what to expect out of Sebastian Vettel. I mean, it was first race back. So, I think it was just, pretty much what I expected out of him. I was a little disappointed with Haas, unfortunately, but I think that was more of a missed setup than anything.
Oh, well, I was shocked because Haas, I would expect them to maybe get a fifth or sixth if they finish fifth at Bahrain of all tracks. Because,
Well, yeah, but at the same point, how many retirements from the top 10 were there? Because there was Max, Sergio, and Gasly.
I was going to say 3. Like,
there was 3.
Sounds about right.
3 right from there.
And versus like 7 at Bahrain.
Right.
So, there's only 13 cars that finished.
Just kind of getting back to the Haas thing, Haas does have a pretty strong record at Albert Park.
Right.
From their get-go season. So, I mean, outside of the season where they had the pit stop malfunction, pit failures.
Cars.
Yeah, on both cars. Even that race, they were in contention. So,
but another good point is that this is the first time in years that Australia isn't the opening race.
Right, that's true too.
So you have a couple races to iron out some bugs.
Can't surprise them.
Yeah.
But again, I thought that one, pretty much the way it was. Moving into qualifying, which I think this year I definitely I really like, because at the end of it, it's an open tire for the race, which I like. I just don't like the saving the tire that you use. I think this opens up the strategy a lot more, so teams can do a lot of different things in qualifying to improve their position throughout the qualifying sessions, because they know that they're going to have an open tire on race day. So,
well, the caveat to that is then there's no strategy, or I should say no strategy. There isn't that
Window
one
to begin.
Yeah, well, no. So like the top 10, well, with how dominant the top 5 are, pretty much the bottom half of the top 10 are basically screwed because at most tracks, if you get into the top 10 from Q2 to Q3, then you qualify most likely on the soft tire, and then everyone behind you starts on the medium. Right. So then the way the strategy usually goes is you get jumped because you end up having to do one more pit stop, or you're starting on tires that won't last as long. But that's where I thought Gasly got screwed a lot last year, because I mean it could have been they just didn't have the race pace overall, but in that AlphaTauri. But I think because he was consistently 6th, 7th, 8th, anytime you had a qualifying, he would always end up just out of the points. And I think a lot of it was because he couldn't start on the mediums, like the top 5, and be able to keep that strategy where everyone could go. So then he would have to do like his 5 laps, take a pit stop, and then you'd basically be penalized for doing well in qualifying.
Right.
That's ultimately, like, I don't agree with that, because I think if you earn your spot there in qualifying, you should also earn it for the race, because that's an advantage to you for having a fast car throughout the weekend.
For sure. No,
But I will say it does. You do shuffle up the order of the from the grid to the final standings with that tire rule in place.
right, because at that same instance, you almost think, well, qualifying 11th is quite nice,
Right.
because you get that fresh tire choice,
Right.
and then you could really scoot your way up to maybe a solid 6th place finish.
Right, and this week, so say it had been the old standard, that 11th position would have been Gasly,
Yeah,
which
of all
he
drivers.
could have.
And then-
I know, honestly, he could have probably finished further up had that happened. I think,
And then
Actually, that's a
Bottas
great-
was
that is a good
right
point,
behind.
right? Because
Yeah, right
Gasly
behind.
finished 9th, and then Bottas 8th, so they may have been able to sneak into 5, 6, or 7 had that happened. So good points there. Anyways, I think the outcome in qualifying was, it was a back and forth between Charles and Max. Is it Charles or Charles?
Charles.
I've heard Charles.
Is it different because he's from Monaco versus France?
I think it's different depending on where you're from.
Yeah, okay.
Right. It's like people around here in New England.
I like to say
saying-
Charles.
Charles. Yeah.
Because
I like the sound of Charles.
Charles.
But then again, being from New England, we say stuff pretty weird, anyways.
Like
Yeah.
wicked, like wicked.
Like race car.
Wicked.
Race
Or
car.
The one that gets
Or-
me is the people, instead of saying Audi, they say Audi.
Or
I have heard that.
I don't quite understand.
or like
that
when you
one.
say Joe Cachubas. That's an inside joke. Anyways,
Yeah.
moving on. So we had Charles on pole, Max second, Sergio third, and in a surprise, Lando.
I mean, I wouldn't exactly call it a huge surprise. I mean, you got because they're going to be the vice finishing positions where Mercedes are.
Okay.
It's a surprise based off of where they've been the past 2 races, I would say.
That's
for sure.
kind of where
At
I was.
Bahrain,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was shocking.
I didn't expect them.
19th and 20th.
Yeah,
Like,
not that far
what?
off the pace, especially being further up during testing.
Right.
So but then I guess that gets back to their preseason comments where they're like, yeah, first day out there and we're top of the standings. The only way we can go is down from here, and we don't really, and that's not really a good
Yeah.
motivation either, because you're going to be sitting there chasing like, oh well, we were first. It's like, yeah, but every team can drop and go up and down.
As I look at it, I think Lewis and George kind of held position at 5 and 6. I mean, the outlier there really was that Carlos Sainz had a terrible qualifying session.
Yeah.
So basically, Mercedes really hasn't improved at all. They might have narrowed the gap a bit, but again, they still are not showing. They're surviving, and that's about it from a race pace in the race. But in qualifying, they're still not near those guys. Now, the one person who really was the show was Fernando. Throughout Q2, Q3 was the show.
He was purple in sector 2.
The graphic,
He was purple
Faster than
sector
Charles.
2. So I contend had he finished that lap, I think he would have been in the top 3
Easily.
I'm not going to say pole. I'm not going to say pole. It's easy
You
to
could
say
argue
pole.
it.
You
Yeah.
could say pole, but let's just say he had the pace to be in the top 3.
Yeah.
So had that happened, that would have shuffled the apple cart for Sunday.
Yeah.
Because Fernando is Fernando, and he's the wily veteran.
So then does Alpine have pace?
I think they
moving
do.
forward?
I think they do on certain tracks.
To an extent, yeah.
I think they do.
That's exactly
I
that.
think they do.
Because
Hungry?
the next race is Imola.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's gonna. Right now I'm gonna have to say the edge goes to Red Bull there. Ferrari. I know it's technically almost it is a home race. It is it's the home race because Imola is probably I think the closest track to Maranello, but I don't think I think Red Bull is going to be. I think they're going to be the team to beat. Now the question is, we don't know about Alpine.
I think a dark horse for this race is going to be McLaren, just based off of Norris's performance last year.
Okay.
I know the cars are different.
No.
Don't
He
get
did
me
get a
wrong.
podium. So
Yes,
he
he
did
did.
end up
So,
getting a
so
P3.
just from comfort, I think that might be
So
an edge going.
just
in
real quick, if you're a betting person for this year, so given last year's track podium finishes, it's safe. A good bet would be Norris to podium at both Italian races.
there.
I would agree with that.
Wow.
Strongly, because I mean both. That's where they got their
Okay.
2 podiums
Right.
last year.
Now moving back to Albert Park.
Right.
So I guess Fernando really was kind of the wild card there. And the rest of it just kind of filtered out the way it did. I guess the biggest disappointment I thought was Magnussen. But he was also sick. Again, it just shows you if you don't hit the track running with the setup, you're chasing your tail all weekend. And
Well, not only that, but the second yellow flag or the second safety car
in
at Melbourne.
the race or
In the
in
race.
qualifying.
Oh no, you're still in the
Yeah,
sorry.
qualifying.
Yeah,
Sorry,
qualifying.
we'll get
Yeah,
there, Christian.
yeah.
Don't worry. But yeah, I think that was the other. I thought Alonso was a surprise. I mean, unfortunate on the last lap, his last fast lap, and I just think the disappointment was Magnussen. So we'll go from there. All right, moving on to race day. Thought good scrap early in the race. Max tried to make a move as usual. Leclerc knew it was coming. Even those two have raced each other from karts on up. So, I mean, that's the good thing. I think there's a ton of respect. They know what they're going to do with each other. And then, I think it went, pretty much held court until, the first round of pit stops. And, again, being able, Sainz had a terrible start. And he hit the anti-stall kicked in on the start, so couldn't get the clutch point right.
Yeah, right.
So
Terrible start.
Yeah, and then tried to play catch up and then beached it. So I mean, it's just, I don't know. I'm not a professional driver, but I think when you're in a situation like that, I know the red mist kicks in.
Yeah.
But
that a
you
pun?
really, that's not a pun, Nate. That really does happen. But I think I think somebody in Carlos's position needs to, at that point, try and scrape back what he can and leave the engineers and the strategists on the pit wall to come up with a strategy to get him the highest place and finish that he can possibly get.
Well,
If it means pitting super early and going to a hard tire for the rest of the race, you do that. But you can't try and get it all back, and he tried to get it all back.
Well, and he said it after the race too, that he tried pushing too hard too early. So I mean, he is a smarter driver than that. So I do think he'll claw his way back in somehow.
Right.
I don't know how close, because I think at this point Leclerc seems invincible. Now we're only 3 races into 22, so.
Well, is it invincible, or he's been the person, or has he been the driver,
Or most consistent.
Well, Sergio and Max were right there. Race 1, both Red Bulls obviously retired with problems.
Yeah.
Race 2, the Red Bulls were on them the whole time.
Right.
And that turned into being and that was a DRS battle too.
At the start of the race, up until that first safety car, Perez was not only leading but gapping
Well,
Leclerc.
and I would actually add he had the race in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was on pole. He was gapping Charles Leclerc until, I mean, coming to pit road at the worst time. I mean, as soon as he went to pit road, the safety car came out.
Well, yeah, because guess who? Nicholas Latifi.
Yeah, he's so good at just adding a plot twist to a
Yeah,
race.
it's like you want to
like it's not like it was for a championship or anything, right? So I guess it was minimized.
you want the race results to switch up. Nicholas Latifi.
You know, right? Oh, that's I know. It's just of all scenarios.
I like the the one meme after the Abu Dhabi race at the end of the season was Hamilton's championship getting ruined by the car number 6.
Right. There's a few scenarios of that.
Yeah.
Right. Nicholas Latifi, and then, I mean, dare I say it, Nico Rosberg. Or Brittany, right?
Yeah.
Translation.
No.
No, but listen, Sergio Perez is going to get a victory this season. I would almost bet all the money in the world that that's going to be the case.
Yeah.
You already got Azerbaijan,
Well,
where he's. I mean, of all the drivers on there, he is just so good at that street circuit.
Well, so going off last year, if that's any indication, Max had Baku wrapped up
For sure.
until that
For sure.
tire blowout.
No, I can definitely agree with that.
But simultaneously, going into next weekend, or the, 2 weekends to go,
Right.
at Imola, this race last year, Sergio outqualified Max.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, granted, he got a poor start, but the race also started in intermediate conditions, so it was basically anyone's game at that point.
was
And
a
then
wild start, too.
and then you had 3 wide and Max up to the lead from third. So anything can really happen if that's the case.
So
Well, I'd even add, like, I wonder what this Imola race will bring. I mean, because now last year you had the wet weather. It was any wet race is a wild card race.
Yeah.
yep.
And so I just wonder if it's a dry race. I mean, what kind of race that might bring. Because I mean, of these first 3 races, we've had quite a few safety cars. I don't think we've had a green race, and this might be the first flag to flag green race, I think.
Yeah. And so who's retired so far? Max twice,
Yeah.
Perez once, Gasly once, Carlos once.
Yeah. And Fernando.
Yes,
I
Fernando.
mean, Fernando has he not had the retirements, I think would be,
Yeah. He'd be
I'm not
upset.
saying I think he'd be in that Hamilton, Russell.
Right. He'd
Well,
be
I
in
should
that
say
mid-
Russell, but more the Hamilton, Norris, Ricardo mix,
Yeah.
Vettel?
No, not
No,
Vettel.
not
I
Vettel.
was gonna say yeah.
Yeah, he's but Fernando's like,
Fernando.
yeah, he's just,
Well, and then I guess
he's got no points in 3 races, and none of it's, it's all been car related.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
but
apart from qualifying,
I didn't, but I would say probably, based on Sunday's performance, Leclerc has definitely been the
he's
most
got 2
consistent.
points.
He's got 2 points. I'm sorry.
Well,
Oh, I'm sorry.
still.
I was looking at. Yeah, sorry.
What,
that's
2 points?
10th places.
Yeah, I know.
No. It was.
But it just
Where did he
shows
finish last week?
he was outside the points because of the crash.
It had to have been Bahrain.
They had a car
Yeah, it was
retirement.
Yeah, it was Bahrain. He
Bahrain,
finished
yeah.
ninth.
Yeah.
Ninth.
Okay.
So, but I think right now Leclerc has been the most consistent. I'll say the second from a consistency standpoint has been Russell. He had a poor race at Bahrain, meaning poor in the sense that he didn't podium. So
But 4th place,
right,
which I mean,
And
yeah,
to an extent, is still within arm's
but
reach of Lewis Hamilton.
but
he was
Sergio
2 seconds back of Lewis at the end
Lewis,
of the
right.
race. So it's not like
That's
he was
not a far gap.
No.
For
No, it's
one
not.
and 2
It's
teammates
not.
in the same car.
So
well,
and then
same car, right?
the other Sergio's been consistent up until this weekend. Carlos has been consistent. You know, Max is just, you know, he had the, you know, the one DNF with the car, and now he's got 2. So I mean, he can't really afford much more in the sense of last year. I think he had 3 DNFs.
Yeah.
At most, right now he can't. He needs things to happen to Ferrari.
And at this point, I'd even say it's past podiums at this point. He needs wins.
He needs wins. He's got to go on a roll.
Yes.
Yeah, he's getting to that
Well,
point.
and that's what he did last year too.
Right.
Because
Yes,
there were a
wins.
string where he just
Yeah, that was leading into Silverstone.
went. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Did something happen there?
No, I don't think so.
No. Something.
Just some.
I will say, I
just
could
some
go.
lawnmower.
I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, well, I'm not going to talk about it. I don't want to sound like Toto. Anyways, so I mean, I overall I thought the race, you know, it was a good race. I thought, you know, I think it was a good idea to take that what was it? They had 4 DRS zones. They went to 3. I mean, that 4th one was just like that was causing a lot of problems in the practice sessions.
Yeah, because that was the
It's just not
the long one
Right.
going into the fast left. Right.
It's just not a track that's just from a safety concern. And,
Right.
And people say like, you know, I think you really got to be a little bit more thoughtful about where you put the DRS zones and just not just jamming them in there every 5 seconds, you know.
Well, and because they last year when they went back to Portugal and Imola, they adjusted the DRS zones, the lengths of them, and it corrected them pretty nice compared to 2020 when they went there and they had a shot in the dark and they didn't know where to put the line at all.
Right.
So I mean, every year you're gonna come in with some more data of how to better improve it. I mean, but don't forget this is also the first year with a much faster Albert Park because they took out that chicane.
That's true.
On that long straight,
Yes.
which makes it super fast, and they also trimmed back some of the corners to allow you to carry more speed through there. I thought that was a good change to the track there because even in the F1 games, everyone would try and shortcut that chicane because you could always try and do it. But
Yeah. I mean, and that wasn't even a passing zone either.
no,
So
it wasn't.
Might as well just make it like a nice
But
sweeping.
but then actually I guess if you were to go another track change, would you take that left right and just make it another smooth? You know how it goes kind of right and then left into there.
Right.
Now, if you just mirror that essentially, but don't make it a downshift left and then coming out to the right there and going in there. If you just make it basically one flow like how you would have at Jeddah, the only problem with that is now you're hauling into that turn 10 or
Right.
11,
Right.
right?
That
corner,
that's already a scary fast
I
corner.
do like the adjustment to that because they made it a harder braking zone.
Yeah.
So then now you actually have a better passing opportunity. Whereas before you really had to be alongside to even think about making a pass to assert your position in there.
for sure.
But now it's like you can make the mistake, and that's what we saw this year. So
Any other takeaways from the race? It really boiled down to, we kind of got robbed at the end. Max possibly, making a late race run at Leclerc. But, I don't know if he would have overcome the gap.
No.
So-
He was just simply too far.
Yeah.
I just think he would have just stayed in second.
And there was
Yeah.
a prevailing thought through the race. I think from Saturday night, or Sunday morning, I saw on one of the shows. There was discussion that overnight they did find a hydraulic leak, or there was a hydraulic issue with his car that the mechanics found, and that they did do some work, and that even on Sunday morning there was there was discussion within the Red Bull garage as to whether or not the car would actually finish.
Ooh.
So that had come out. I'm watching some of the post-race shows, so that I think Max had kind of said something after the race about it, but still, I mean, it doesn't, get to the reason why there was, was there the split pipe on the fuel that caused by some of the work that they did, whatever. I mean, those packages are really tight, so don't really know there. But again, I think we got robbed of a potentially good finish, but Leclerc definitely was the dominant car throughout the weekend.
I mean, he was. I mean, he hit it his first Grand Slam.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
So that's there's something to be said about that. I think it's just going to be continued momentum for Ferrari,
Yep.
And if anything, I think you're going to see a Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz, the smooth operator. He just had a so smooth race. So I think he's going to really bounce back.
I think he'll bounce back. I just my hope is that he doesn't try and bounce back too quick. In sense of trying to
win the next race.
Yeah, like the next race, try and win it from some
turn one.
Yeah, just trying too hard or something. I think
because it was very.
I think
early.
he just needs to let it come to him, and that seems to be when he runs best, and hence that's where he gets the name Smooth Operator. So I mean, he does well. I think desperation is going to start to set in on Max. And I think Red Bull's got to step it up on his car
for sure.
Well, I think Max will probably get back into that mindset of I'm just going to go as fast as I can.
I think that's
and just do what he can do.
Yeah, I think that's where he's going to go.
But that's always been his mindset too, because Red Bull has always tried to do what it is by the books, and Max is sitting there like, just play our game.
Right.
This isn't, because that's what they did last year. That's what they did the year before as well. Like, or just because anytime that Max would sit there, what can we do to win? Can we try and throw something else at it? If we don't throw something else at it, then we're not trying.
And the other thing going to Imola, besides, as Nate pointed out earlier, the weather, I think the other thing is we really don't know. Like the track, I don't recall when that track has ever been resurfaced. I'll be honest with you. It always seems like it's had the same surface. In a sense, I don't recall ever being new pavement put down. I mean, it could be if I look it up. But I will say this: I'm curious to see how smooth or what condition the track is in terms of the porpoising effect on all of these cars right now. Obviously, Mercedes has it the worst, I think.
I think Ferrari has it pretty bad.
I would say
I know their car is very quick, but watching them go into that fast left-right at Melbourne, when you have the shot of them coming around the left-hander there, the Ferrari is just hopping like crazy.
So
and the Red Bull seems so stable.
That gets back to what Leclerc said in Saudi. That even in Bahrain, he didn't. He thought that the Red Bull was faster on the straights. So it seems it's a more compliant car, I guess, is the best thing. But we'll see what happens. I think that Red Bull has to come out, and they need to do some front row lockouts. Regardless of whether it's Max on pole or Sergio on pole. But I can tell you right now that if Sergio gets pole, there's going to be a little. Oh, I stumbled. And Max is going to go by because Max is clearly the number one driver on that team.
Right.
If Sergio was leading the world championship at this point,
well, he is.
No, he's not leading.
No.
Not leading.
Yeah,
if he's leading, that's not happening.
Right,
over Max. Yeah.
Over Max, that's not.
But
But
right
now
no
he's in second. He's in
the
second.
number one driver at Red Bull right now, based on the points. So.
Based on points, but based on
after 3 races,
based on contracts and such, who's number one at the team?
Yeah.
Until if Sergio walks out of there with a win, and say Leclerc stumbles in the next 2 races, and 3 races out, Sergio's leading, it could very well be, Max has got to play number 2. I hate to say it.
Right, and I'd even also add in terms of Ferrari standpoint. Right now, if Ferrari, like you mentioned, gets a front row lockout, does Carlos Sainz become a Valtteri Bottas, if you will?
He will.
Really becomes the number 2 driver.
He will. Well, I think right
no
now
one touches Charles Leclerc.
I think right now Leclerc is number 1 at.
Well, hands down. All he had to do was win at Monza, and he won the hearts of all.
Yeah, but that's
Ferrari.
That's all he had to do. That's all great, but I mean, right now they're leading the championship. They're leading the manufacturers championship. So who's leading them right now? It's Leclerc.
Right, Leclerc beating all manufacturers.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, just not by himself.
So, but Anyway, so we're on to Imola in 2 weeks, and we'll see what happens. Like you said, I'm looking forward to I like that track.
I think it's a great track.
I think
for
it's
the
a great
calendar.
track. So, I mean, I like some of the GT car races that go on there, and some of the lower Formula car races. So that I've seen. So good track.
Top 3 predictions for the race.
Do you want me to go for? Yeah, you know,
It-
here it is.
We're
So-
almost 2 weeks early on this, so we have no idea practice, no idea.
Well,
I reserve the right to change my opinion.
yeah.
And who knows if
So-
there's another podcast in between.
Yeah,
now
who
and then.
knows? Who knows? Who
So,
knows?
Well, let me tell you.
early predictions. Here we
So-
Early predictions.
Here it is. I guess if we're going to start first to third,
Yeah.
my immediate thoughts are going to be, look, the patterns to me, I think it's going to be Max, who does end up taking victory. Maybe what you have is Sergio Perez taking second. Like I like the idea you were thinking, like he's going to take pole and then oops and turn one maybe on the first lap.
Or it's a front row Red Bull lockout.
Something of that nature. But it's really so hard to bet against Charles Leclerc right now.
Okay.
But I really do. What I see at the end of the day, it's going to be Verstappen first. Red Bull's going to figure out their reliability issue. I mean, they have 2 weeks to do it. So, and then Sergio Perez is going to bounce back, get another second place, if you will. And then third place is going to be Charles Leclerc. I really, yeah, he's going to get third.
Christian, let's go to you.
I say Max bounces back, gets a win. I think Charles will be second, and I'm gonna go Lando on third.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna. You can't be basic.
Okay.
because-
All right. I'm gonna go status quo at the front. I think it's gonna be Max, and I think it's gonna be Perez. I think Red Bull needs to turn it around quick, and they got to do it fast. And I think this is where they're gonna do it. I'm gonna go for a surprise third. I'm gonna say Lewis.
Well, I wouldn't say surprise.
So to recap, Max, we've all picked Max to win.
Sergio for second.
Yeah, Sergio
Okay,
for second.
So,
I second
we
that.
all just picked Max to win. So that means he's going to lose.
Well,
Well, right. I twist my arm. Right, Sergio Perez wins.
Right.
So.
Okay.
right.
Kiss of
whatever.
death. Kiss of death.
Kiss of
But,
death.
You know
But,
it. All right.
You know,
Well,
but
maybe,
maybe
it proves us wrong.
I think Lewis is gonna. That's just my opinion.
Well,
He-
I almost question your third place, Lando Norris, just simply because Mercedes is just 9 times out of 10, I think, out of this season is going to
But
finish higher than McLaren.
Here's the thing. If you got essentially there's no difference in the motors anymore that Mercedes uses and gives to McLaren and gives to Williams, because we're in the chaos cap era. So I believe the motors have to be relatively the same. There's no they're better spec motors now.
I will.
There's also this prevailing thought. Just one last point on this, that Ferrari may have told Haas to dial the motor back over the weekend because
That's the thing.
yeah,
because
it's out there.
If you
It's in the Twitter sphere.
when you think about it, how this season is played so far, all the Ferrari teams are doing really well.
Really well.
All the Mercedes teams are doing kind of shit.
Kind of
Right.
crappy.
Well, AlphaTauri. I mean,
Right.
right. You look at.
So what it comes
Oh,
down.
I'm sorry, Alfa Romeo.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
what
Right,
I was
but-
pointing at. But look at Bahrain. I mean, I think it was all Ferrari engine cars except for Mick Schumacher finished in the points.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
but
that's really
but the
solid.
only
Right.
so assuming that and saying the motors are relatively the same. All right, maybe Ferrari has a little more and Mercedes may have a little more. Mercedes got. I mean, Lando was in there this weekend. And
Yes,
Danny,
yes, we did.
and Danny Rick
Yeah.
was behind
But I think
behind Lewis. So and it wasn't like George was pounding off into the sunset in third
Right,
place.
right.
So I'll be
By no
honest with
means.
you. I think the Mercedes motors are probably the same. I think the difference comes down to the chassis.
Okay.
And I think I'll be honest with you. I think the McLaren chassis right now is a better chassis than what's on the Merc. So the only thing that's keeping the Merc ahead right now is probably a little bit more in the motor. All right. And I think Merc went too far with the side pods. Okay,
Yeah, taking them off.
take
What's
that whatever that thing was they did.
Yeah.
Because I think the first week, the first day they were fine, or whatever it was like, because they came out the second day with the whatever.
I've
Yeah,
also heard
testing.
that they're just gonna come in with a different floor. So
Right.
I don't know.
There's a
Again,
certain,
I don't know what
and the other thing
underneath
is
the
at a
system
certain
thing.
point they got to kind of they got to move on to next year because I hate to say we're only 3 races in, but if they can't get anywhere between races between now and say this,
Do you call it a Haas learning year?
yeah, it may turn in. I hate to say
Well,
that it might turn into that. For
But then
them.
this is so then
That's
is
shocking.
this idea of the cost cap what you want?
No, I just think in the cost cap era, yes, it is because it's definitely what it's showing is that Mercedes is really good at throwing tons of money at something. Okay, when they have a budget, it's a totally different thing. Okay, Ferrari, I think is benefiting from the fact that they had a crummy couple of years. And they just kind of, I think each year was an evolution, but I think at some point, I think not so much last year, but the year before, I think that's when they started looking towards 2022. Haas did the same thing, at some point, but that was because it was on their end, it was budget.
Yeah.
They got to go, we got to start looking ahead. So, I think I don't see, could I see it Hamilton third, Lando fourth? Christian will speak to, why you think Lando will finish third. I mean, it can happen. So, I mean, I think there's just a slight difference. I think if the McLaren is a better car on that track,
Maybe. You're right.
you don't know. But anyways, all right, okay,
That's F1.
all right, that's F1. Should we move on to you want to do a quick NASCAR recap at the paperclip, Martinsville.
Well,
It's one of the few NASCAR races that I actually enjoy.
a few.
Few.
Not all of them.
No, Nate. I think Nate, you understand. And Nate, if we could actually race a race from start to finish without having,
Yeah.
cleaning the
falling
ice,
asleep.
cleaning the ice in between, the first stage, second stage, and third
Oh,
stage.
it's already ruined strategy. I know that.
Yeah, it has ruined strategy. Also, I don't know. It's not a race. It's more of a
WWE.
no. It's
Did I
just,
say it? I
It's
said
no.
it.
It's just I don't know. I don't find it to be.
Well, I still watch it.
Yeah, I know you do.
I think it's.
I like Martinsville because it's short track and I kind of like it.
Well, they ruined Bristol with the dirt. I personally.
I think it was yeah.
But,
I
so
don't. That's for another episode. But
Another episode,
My
yeah.
feeling is that
I'll save it for
my
next
my
time,
feeling is
but-
my feeling is on Bristol and the dirt should have been a one-off thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. That's my
I think
exact
I
thoughts.
think the annual
because
trip of the trucks to Eldora absolutely fine.
That's a good race. But my thing is you can't. They ruined Bristol already. Don't make it worse with the
Oh yeah,
construction with
yeah,
it?
yeah.
because when they had races in like 2002, 2005, classic Bristol was
It was bump and run.
bump and run.
Yeah.
It was
Which is fine, but that's
exactly it.
short track racing
But now you have it where the
or
Highland
F1
is
Boston Pro League racing.
I know, right?
Anyways, even Junior League.
Once upon a time on track one.
Yeah, there I was.
Yeah. Oh
As
my
I
God.
crested over the junior track. Anyway, track.
Anyways, yeah, no, I agree, but I like the race at Martinsville. I like the night race at Martinsville.
It's
I
cool.
don't the fall race. It's like it just looks cold there.
It's the fall classic.
Yeah, it's the fall classic,
Fall frenzy.
But yeah, the fall frenzy. But no, it's I don't know. I watched it. I thought it was good. Some people were saying that it was kind of a lead and follow event. Blaming the tires, things like that. But I think the biggest problem, and I think that I think just my opinion is the reason that the race is the way the race is because of the
Stages.
stages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree 100% because
Because
with the stages, I mean, it makes you got stage 1 and stage 2 just to get some points, extra points, and then because the only thing I could really think of where it's like beneficial is if you're dominating all day, and then in stage 3 you lose an engine and then
Yeah.
your day's done. That's
Yeah.
the only real benefit I
Right.
see.
But it all comes
From
down
it.
to how you get staged for stage 3, right?
Yeah. Well, that's where all the points are.
But what
Most
happens?
of the points
But
are.
what happens is there's no mid-stage pit.
Well, kinda.
It's not. The stages aren't long enough typically, or the way that I've seen it is that each stage it's pretty much a tank of fuel, right?
Right.
So then,
Tank of fuel, tires. It's just a whole reset.
Yeah,
Right.
But
So then-
whereas if you were just doing a full race,
so then,
like the strategy of pitting early to try and you're
Maybe
trying.
loop
Well, the
past
whole thing
others.
is it's like it just goes out the window with the there's a caution coming at whatever lap. Right. Now the question is whether or not somebody loses it in between. At the big speedways that happens. I mean, at the mile and a quarters, it's somebody cut a tire.
Yep.
But I mean, it just I don't know. Like at Martinsville, it was just you're just constantly going, constantly trying to play. You're timing it. You're going to take a chance and see if you're going to get the flag falls the way it does. I don't know. I just think the strategy goes out the window, and that's my complaint.
No,
So.
it does. And you know what else? It all of a sudden makes. So here's my least favorite part of the stages, in the World 600, if you will, at Charlotte, the Coca-Cola 600 as it's called now. That's the most points paying race in the season because they have 4 stages. Not the Daytona 500 for whatever reason. Now they created this idea where it's like that's the most points paying race. Because for the World 600, it's 100, 100, 100, and 100,
Right.
adding up to 400 laps. And then at the Daytona 500, where it's 200 laps, I believe they only get to, it's like, I want to say 60, 60, and then 80. And then they just finish the race that way. But, I mean, I'm not a fan of the stage racing
it just
at all.
I don't know. It just for me, it
kind
takes the entertainment out of the whole race that NASCAR was. It kind of takes the thrill out,
Well, the chase was already bad enough.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. I mean, Jesus, I don't know. Anyways, I get it. It's made for TV, but there's no stages in IndyCar. There's no stages in Formula One.
Actual racing.
And actual racing, but in NASCAR we got stage racing.
Yeah.
But,
but you know what? Someone that really takes advantage of at least the structure, I would say, is Alex Bowman.
Bowman does. Yeah.
Denny Hamlin called him a hack previous to the time. I think it was the fall race.
Was it Coda? Yeah, but wasn't he? I think he calling him out because of Coda and the crap that went on there with Allmendinger on the last lap. The bump and runs and all that. I mean, I think it's and didn't Trackhouse won, right?
Stenhouse?
No, Trackhouse.
Oh, yeah. I'm very sorry. Yeah,
the Watermelon Man.
Yeah, Ross Chastain.
Is he the Watermelon
Hell
Man?
yeah.
That's the Watermelon Man.
Yeah. Watermelon Man.
Well, Trackhouse.
He stole it.
I'm all for Trackhouse because Justin Marks owns it, and I'm a big
cool.
fan of Justin
And
Marks.
Mr. Worldwide.
Mr. Worldwide, yeah. But I'm more of a Justin Marks fan.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
Well, he had the best NASCAR race. He won he won
in Mid Ohio in the rain.
yeah, the Xfinity. I almost said
the rain.
nationwide race, but I knew that was not
In the
correct.
rain.
Yeah,
But he's a road racer by heart. So,
yeah.
anyways.
So he kicked ass
So
there.
he kicked ass there. But anyways, so Will Byron wins. He's been in it all day, huh?
iRacing Pro.
iRacing Pro, and my personal favorite. I love this guy. I love Joey Logano. Logano. No, I don't like. Oh, then we had Austin Dillon. Jesus. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. But then I got Blaney Chastain, Kurt Busch, Kyle. I don't even know which one of the Bushes.
K. Busch.
Yeah. Well, hey, look at that.
Kurt Busch actually beat Kyle Busch this time.
Kurt Busch did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And he's he was the highest placing Team 23.
And Toyota.
Right.
So
Team 23.
Yeah.
Yeah, that powerhouse with Denny Hamlin and Bubba Wallace.
Yeah.
Bubba finished 16th. That's a good run for Bubba. And Hamlin finished 28th.
And Alex Bowman, the hack, came in 12th.
12th. So that's all right. But I don't know. I saw some comments after the race. Logano talking about the tires, and Hamlin was yapping, and Harvick was yapping, and I don't know. Kurt Busch was yapping. No, Kyle Busch was yapping. So I don't know. It's getting to. I don't know. I think it's gonna come to a head in NASCAR soon. It's just my opinion.
Right. They need to get rid of the stages.
Yeah.
First thing to fix the racing in NASCAR, you got to get rid of the stages.
That'd be a good podcast for the end of the season. We're in the off season. We can talk about that. How to improve NASCAR.
NASCAR, please get rid of the stages.
I think I will say this: the Gen 3 car, fantastic.
Oh, great car.
I think it's
Sounds
great.
nice.
I'm not a Brad Keselowski fan at all. But I know, we know. But I mean, I give them credit for getting caught cheating in a big way.
Oh, come on.
No. Think about it, Nate. That's at least somebody tried to push the envelope.
Yeah.
Okay, I have no problem with that.
He's been doing that since he was at
Who?
Junior Motorsports. Brad Keselowski.
Not cheating.
No,
Not
thinking
not
outside
him
the box.
driving wise.
Yes.
Like deciding to hit everybody in the field. Yeah.
Okay. In the
But
Daytona 500,
I'm just talking. I'm
good.
just talking about behind the scenes, and it's still Roush Racing.
Roush, Fenway, Keselowski.
Yeah, but it's still Roush. Okay, so I mean, let's put it this way: Jack Roush,
still there.
he is the master of.
And John Henry.
Huh?
Who's the other guy? I think it's John Henry.
What? Don't bring up that name, please.
Okay. All right.
I don't.
He's just one of the other owners.
He's a bag holder, money bag holder. That's all. John Henry can't even figure out. He doesn't even know how to change the oil in his own car. Never mind, find the dipstick. Anyways.
Dipstick, Jimmy.
Dipstick,
Jimmy.
But I mean, look, I give him a credit. Like they're all, it's Keselowski. It's like Jack Roush is the king of finding the things.
Yes.
I mean, there's a reason why back in the IMSA days, the Ford Mustangs and the Mercury Capris were fast.
Stupid fast.
Yeah.
No,
okay.
I could definitely
and
agree
there's
with
a reason why Mark Martin was fast.
Yep. And somehow Kurt Busch won a championship.
So I mean, there's a lot of
the first season of the chase.
There's some good people that have been there, and a lot of people went on to some other teams. So I mean, I'm not surprised, but I give him credit for trying that.
Yep.
Because I'll tell you what, Penske's doing the same thing. They're just not getting caught right now.
Yeah. Right. That one day they'll get caught with their pants down.
They all get caught with their pants down.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Eventually.
They all get caught. But I mean, it's like you're gonna get, but I give you credit. You tried something. Mm-hmm. Didn't work.
Throw the kitchen sink at it.
Yeah.
And you never know.
Yep. No, that's it. So it was kind of a weak sauce recap of the NASCAR race, but I mean, it did like drag on until like Sunday night, and I was honestly
and a
more
rain delay.
Yeah, I was still kind of recovering from the Masters. So, anyways, and IndyCar before that. So, why don't we move on to IndyCar?
IndyCar.
Long Beach.
I listen. I think I loved how it was like the season finale. Was it last year? I thought that was kind of cool.
That was good. That was a one-off. I don't want it to be the season finale.
No, me neither. I liked for what the situation was.
Because you still have the unfortunate, we have, Pato getting, speared by Ed Jones in the hairpin. But you know what? Hey, Pato, it happens to everybody there.
Well, I think the oddest accident all weekend was Scott McLaughlin shooting himself in the foot there.
What about... You're talking about Scott McLaughlin.
Yes.
Okay, let's go back to Colton Herta leading the race and dominating. Now he's got he makes a bad.
We'll back it up.
Makes a bad pit stop. And
then recovers.
Yeah, recovers, but now he's pushing, and he's on an in lap, and this is the second time like he's done that.
Yeah.
Nashville, the other one. I mean, I love Colton.
He had Nashville in the bag.
Right, I love Colton, but
chill pill. Take a chill pill sometimes.
I think I think he's trying to make up, and I hate to say this, but I think he is trying to make up for some of the Andretti stuff that's going on in the pits.
That's
Alex,
a wrong answer.
So
it's not a wrong answer
because Andretti isn't on it 24/7.
24/7.
They're the third best team.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to say that right now.
Really? You'd see it further?
I just don't.
So who's ahead?
Well,
Penske.
Well, yeah, but no, it was Penske's won the first two, but I mean, just I don't know. I just don't think they're. I mean, I don't know. I just have a bad feeling with them right now. I think they need somebody to kind of oversee the racing on the IndyCar side. Okay, I mean, Ganassi has a couple people, but like, it's Chip. I mean, Chip just shows up and runs the show and gets the money, but Mike Hell runs the whole thing.
Yeah, it does.
Okay,
no, he's been a great strategist
same
for
thing.
Scott Dixon.
Well, he runs the whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay, and on the flip side, Tim Cindric, now he's calling the shots for Newgarden. He learned at the hand of the master. So he's got that team. They made the decision. They went from 4 to 3 cars, and it's changed up some things. But they're tight. Ganassi's tight, but right now their cars aren't qualifying well.
Well,
Andretti's qualifying well, but there's just too many in-race miscues.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Alex Rossi's been hit by the anvil every time, and I'll steal that quote from Marshall Pruitt. And then all credit to Marshall. Alex whole season there's been pit miscues, everything.
Yeah.
That have hurt him. And Colton had a miscue a bit on the entry of the pit, but then again it was a slow stop. So, I mean, he loses a 10th, and then the team loses 2 tenths. Now you lost 3 tenths. Okay? I mean, the team can't be losing 2 tenths on a tire change in fuel. They just can't be doing that.
No, because that multiplies
Right. So
on the track.
So, and then it forced Colton into a situation where he had to go and play catch-up.
And that's not, I wouldn't say he's the top driver in terms of like, if I'm Andretti, right, the last driver I want is Colton Herta to be behind the 8 ball, because don't get me wrong, he puts all sorts of extra effort to make it up to the front, but there's been now multiple times where he spills the tea in doing so. That car's done, that's not going to finish. It's not going to podium. It's not.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
You need the and even if you don't win, you need the consistent finish.
You need to finish.
I'll take it.
That's any championship.
I'll take it a step further. Everyone thought, what are they? McLaren. What's it? Aerosmith. Whatever.
Yeah, the spam racing
team.
team.
Spam. That's right.
Robin Miller.
Schmidt, Peterson, Arrow, McLaren. Anyways, I mean, like, everyone talks about them, and I'm just gonna be. I'm sorry, but Award's fast, but he doesn't know how to manage tires, and then you hear the in-race stuff between him and his crew chief, and it's just like, you got this, focus here. It's just not
in sync.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you got this, and it's just all robotic, and then he's out there, and they're not saying, hey, you need to be managing the tires and stuff. When you listen to, you don't hear enough between Cindric and Newgarden. I wish we did, but I don't. I think that's part of the reason. I mean, I think part of the reason is because Penske owns IndyCar, and they're trying not to show favoritism there. But when they get to talking to Herta, I mean, there is seriously some coaching there, and I mean, Colton's flying off the handle, and Brian's like, yep, okay, buddy, all right, this is what you got to do. This is what you got to focus. This is the number you got to be. He always brings them back.
Right, back to earth. Yeah.
Back to earth.
He's
you got to figure it out. Right. So if I'm that's on the plus side with Herta, but I think that was also on the plus side with Alex Rossi, who was his crew chief when he won the Indy 500.
Right.
Herta.
Right, because he was like, you have to meet this number for 36 laps.
Because you know what? Brian Herta thinks...
Make it happen.
Right. See, the thing is, Brian Herta thinks the same way Alex Rossi thinks. Mm-hmm. That's just my opinion.
Yep.
I can if and when Herta decides that he moves on, I mean, everyone says he's going to go to, F1. Okay, fine.
Eventually.
Yeah, well...
I'd say so.
You know what? Will Power might be out of a contract.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And I'm just going to say, if I'm Penske...
That's the number one driver on
the unfortunate thing is, I think Herta would have to get a haircut then.
Yeah.
We don't want that.
Maybe. Yeah,
Don't want that. But anyways.
Well, Colton Herta was already on a Yankee team, if you will.
No,
And then he didn't have to get rid of the haircut, right? Johnny Damon style.
I know,
So.
but anyways, I thought that was it. But again, I think Newgarden once again. I mean, no qualms with him. He's definitely class driver. Willpower. Verizon car.
I was at the New Hampshire.
Yeah. Yes.
2011 race.
Yeah.
I was
yeah, the
there.
double barrel.
Well, just
the Verizon car. Verizon. I just like the way you say
Lee Diffie does
Verizon.
it better.
No, I hate Lee Diffie. Anyways. I'm not talking about. I don't want to talk about announcers. I can't talk. Young Jordan Taylor. Anyways, moving on.
Yeah.
Or Ricky Taylor, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, again, Power finished fourth? I think was that it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. It went
So
Newgarden, Grosjean, Pillow, Power,
Alex
and
Palou.
an award were your top 5, and
Yeah.
then Dixon was
Grosjean.
6.
Yeah,
He had a nice podium.
he did. He did.
I really thought he was in the catbird seat at the end.
No, because they pointed out rightly that he went to the red tires, and if he had to get in front.
Yeah.
And he didn't. And Newgarden did a masterful job of keeping him there. And
sure did.
Newgarden did not do the Brazilian chop.
No,
He just
or
outran him.
or the Scott Pruitt fade.
The fade.
Yeah,
As
yeah.
Tommy Kendall calls it.
Yeah. I've called a few people out in league racing doing that. I'm like, are you doing the Scott Pruitt fade? And they're like,
Yeah,
what?
what? Anyways, no, but I again Newgarden. McLaughlin, he's second year IndyCar, so he's gonna have a clunker. But again, it's somebody that's lurking. I know it's like 17, 18th, so 35 points behind. We're 3 races into the season, but Scott Dixon's still lurking in 5th place.
Mm-hmm.
And don't forget that Indy is a double points race.
And I
Just to throw that out there.
He always finds his way up there.
He always finds his way.
and Scott Dixon, man, you can never count out
No.
Scott Dixon
No.
in a championship
No.
ever,
No.
ever. Even if he was 10th, I'd say
No.
there's
He
no way.
He always finds a way.
Well, and to maximize
and
the
then-
mistakes, like he'll
And
grab a 4th place after
I'll be
flipping
honest.
his car.
I'll be
you know?
honest with you. There's the next race is
Barber.
it's Barber, right?
Yep.
Don't they? Do they go to WeatherTech anymore? Are they done there? They don't go there.
Give me one.
I just don't understand.
That's a
like,
good track for them.
well, this is the dumb thing. IMSA's going to WeatherTech in 2 weeks. It's like, why doesn't IndyCar just go to WeatherTech?
Laguna is the season finale.
Oh,
That's
really?
For IndyCar.
That's nice.
September,
I like that.
September 11th.
Oh, all right. Okay. Well, that could get juicy.
They
hopefully.
end the season.
I don't like having it on a street course. The finale.
No,
No, because there's too many just dumb things happen on a street track.
same with the Texas Oval.
Yeah, but that's why Texas isn't going to be the finale.
No, but I'm just. It's on the schedule.
I don't know.
Like,
Yeah, I know,
You
but
could have
I
an
think
oval.
you
You could
can't-
have. It's an IndyCar schedule.
You know,
it's half
some
ovals,
people
half
would say
courses.
Road America would be a great track for the finale, but not really.
No, because who's going to go there?
Well,
not
if you-
that who's going to go
let's
there.
put it
I'm
this
just
way.
going to say.
Well,
You-
actually, I bet. Well, you got to think weather-wise where you're gonna have a good.
Well,
show,
WeatherTech
right?
is definitely.
So, but being in September, or even if not that they do October racing, but if you're thinking later in the season for weather and
Yeah.
what you want for a show, right? What place is going to give you that?
Right.
Yeah,
So,
Laguna Seca.
all right. Well, again, we're off to Barber. That place is always interesting.
Yeah.
I just want to make it clear. I'm not crapping on Road America. I don't know if that would be an ideal season finale track either.
Well, but
I don't think it's.
I think being so late in the year up in Wisconsin, is it really going to be a fun weekend? Right?
Well, it's September.
right.
It's
That-
right.
That's
It's like
where I
when
was
they had the
going.
Ryder Cup last year there.
Yeah.
In at Kohler, but I don't. I'm just saying I don't know. Laguna, whatever. Laguna Seca.
One of the two. Still the same thing.
I know, but I'm just kind of old school.
Yeah, Mosport,
yeah,
Canadian Tire,
Motorsport.
whatever.
I think that would be a great. It's a great place to go because there's a couple places there that you can make some moves. That you can. There's stuff between.
It's definitely risk reward.
Yeah, there's definitely risk reward. I mean, you get to run on the guy going up the back straight into the corkscrew. You can go a la Zanardi.
Yeah.
Coming out, you can chase a guy down to the turn, right? The downhill run to the hairpin. But the whole thing is to set the guy up so you can get the inside line on him at the hairpin.
Right,
you know,
missed her breaking by a little bit, and they
yeah,
really
yeah,
swing wide.
yeah,
and,
swing wide. And then the other thing is, you know, from what they call the Andretti hairpin, as you enter the the reconfigured part of the track, in there, guys make mistakes.
Yeah.
And you can get a run on a guy coming up, and you can make a run on him and pass on him up under the bridge before you go on the uphill.
That's probably the best thing about any track here in the States that isn't grade 1.
Oh, the runoff because the gravel.
No, it's just American tracks are what I would say is true racing, and where there is no massive runoff like these upgraded grade
how
1
Ricard.
tracks.
like Paul Ricard.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's
like-
the
but
classic.
Paul Ricard. The reason that's like that, when they lost the French Grand Prix way back in the day, they reinvented themselves as a testing facility.
Yeah.
For
Like different configurations. all
yeah,
over the place.
that's why. And then it just like the French government came back and said, we're not going to upgrade anything else, and that's like we're going to go to Paul Ricard. That's
Yeah.
why they go there.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's. I mean, the track to the drivers is great. To the fans, like on TV, it sucks because you don't know where the hell they are.
Right.
Right. Because
But
it's just like, is this
but
like
you're Christian.
turn one,
That's a great
217?
Christian. That's a great point because
Because a lot of these tracks on the IndyCar schedule,
you
it doesn't punish you, or it punishes you for making those
Yeah.
moves, but at the same point, it doesn't wreck your car either.
Right.
Because that's the biggest thing too.
well,
It's like you don't.
yeah, you can have a big one at the Kink at Road America. Catherine Legg had one there.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. She
yes,
did.
yeah.
Car.
You can have one.
No, you can. Yeah, but that's
And you can have a massive one at the top of the. Unfortunately, we go back to Ricardo Gonzalez, who
Oh, yeah.
he went into the tire barrier. The car
Yeah,
went
that's
up over the barrier and landed on his head and broke his neck.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I mean that's just But that's the thing. I mean, there is this. It's risk reward and there's penalties.
right.
Great point. I mean, you and I we've been fortunate. We've been to we've been to Lime Rock, we've been to Watkins Glen, we've been to Road America, and we've been to Coda.
Yeah.
I've been to Sebring,
So likewise.
Yeah.
and
yeah,
that's
you have, I have.
and you've driven there.
Yeah, I've driven there
right,
twice.
and
Actually, 3 times.
it's
I mean, the modified track is something
well,
else,
you guys are running, but you're running
Yeah.
Formula 4 cars there. That's you're getting a feel for it.
Yeah.
for sure.
But
And
and
it's bumpy as hell.
it's bumpy as hell, right? I mean, Lime Rock back in the day. Lime Rock back in the day when I did some track day events there was bumpy as hell. And
Well, I mean, Lime Rock and Sebring are just night
Yeah.
and day.
Yeah.
In a
Yeah.
skip arbor car,
but the risk is there is a risk reward there.
Yeah.
You go off, you make a mistake, you get punished.
Yeah.
You go to Coda, we've been to Coda. You can take some chances.
Yeah.
So, but that's but I agree. I think it's going to be it'll be interesting. Obviously I think Newgarden's got it together. I'm not sure if McLaughlin can.
Yeah, I think we'll have to see. I think the St. Petersburg was definitely a shock. I didn't expect him based off the season last season he had, but
Right.
I guess
But
What takes an
it's always
off-season.
a shock at
Yeah.
St. Petersburg.
right.
All right.
We just want to interrupt this podcast for our sponsor to thank our sponsors. Okay, now move on.
Ha ha ha. Very good. Quick thinking there. Anyways, just real quick, we'll just kind of move on to IMSA at Long Beach. We had the DPIs and the GTD cars together, firstly with the GT Pro cars. I thought overall good race. I think the drive, obviously, I think the race was a little more suspenseful than it could have been, than it should have been, because of Bourdais had a bit of a kerfuffle at the hairpin with the GTD car and kind of overdrove it and kind of didn't put the car into the wall, but kind of got himself wedged where he couldn't turn, so he had to back it up, and then everybody else went by him, and then he had to drive back from that. And honestly, he stormed back through the field, and when they went to make the first to make the driver change, and he handed the car over to Van der Zande. I think they were either in first or second, so I mean he kind of put them back into the place, and then Van der Zande just kind of did his thing, which was good to see. He kind of drove away from that. Again, it was kind of a Cadillac 1, 2, 3. The Acura is just no pace, nothing. They got nothing. So, it's kind of it's fine, but it's just like the Cadillacs have it all.
Right. It's only so fast.
Well, and I
It's
mean,
like the Acura.
how many teams do we have in DPI right now? Because
Right.
it
Right
not
now,
that
we have 4 Cadillacs and 2 Acuras.
okay. So what we
6
had
full-time?
we had 6 cars,
6
just like how we
cars.
had
We have-
GTLM last
We have
year.
2 Acura teams. We have one Cadillac team that has 2 cars, which is Chip Ganassi, and then we have JDC Miller, which has Tristan Vautier and Richard Westbrook, who are no slouches, and then we have Wheelan, which has got Durrani and Tristan Nunez. So I mean, it's good. It's just the GTD race was a better show personally from my perspective, but you tell NBC that they don't show it, so which was too bad because we had a lot of, and the great thing with the GTD field was we actually had GTD cars with the pro and am drivers, finishing, we had a GTD am car with Brian Sellers and Madison Snow win GTD am overall in their class, but they finished technically 3rd overall in GTD. And then in 5th place in GTD mixed was Farnbacher and Mark Miller in the Gradient Racing Acura. And before that, Eversley and Anthony Reed in the Rick Ware Racing Acura, Nate's favorite team, Rick Ware Racing, they were running 4th.
Yeah.
And they fell down. So, because they got kind of shuffled by an unnamed DPI car. No one wants to say what it was. So I don't know if it was Acura on Acura crime, but might have been based on that. But again, the GTD field, I mean, again, that's kind of where the racing is. That's just my opinion. Yeah. I think this race sadly misses the LMP2 cars.
Yeah.
Again, you can't have, well, no, if you had them, you'd probably have 35 cars. But this isn't a track for as much as I like the LMP3 cars, it's just not a track for the LMP3 cars.
No.
So
because then you get into you run into races where like the truck series at Martinsville where you just have
40
just like a bunch
conga
of
line,
cautions.
and a cautions,
and it's a parade session. You don't want to be watching that either. I mean, you want a lot of drivers, but you also need
you can't
race with common sense.
You need drivers that can handle themselves too. And I mean anyone would love to be racing there, which is why that category exists. However, when your results finish, you win the race by 2 laps, and then the next one down is 5 laps behind, 10 laps behind. It's not a great show, I guess, for the fans. But for a street course, keep it to the pros and the guys who can keep it on there. But with that said, IMSA NASCAR likes to throw cautions, so it does kind of kill a short race once you get one caution out there.
So that'll cover IMSA for the weekend. The next race for IMSA is in I think the end of the month at WeatherTech. So be tuning in for that. So hopefully we'll have a good show there. Probably have about 5 people in the stands, but
That's always a good race.
It just never draws there. I don't know.
I never understood that.
It used to. It used to in the day. I just don't know what the deal is right now out there. So.
If they did a doubleheader weekend with
IndyCar, that's my whole thing. But I get where IndyCar actually. I get from an IMSA perspective, you're keeping everybody out there for this period, so everybody's out there, which is fine. But I think at certain tracks, I think IndyCar does have a bit of a draw problem, a little bit of a draw problem there. I think it would be good. That's a good doubleheader track for them. So
I mean, dare I say it? I mean, IMSA is NASCAR owned, right? So maybe do we put these new NASCARs on? Because I mean, if of all the NASCARs in this generation, maybe. I say it, that's a strong maybe.
But I don't think
your answer will be, or your question will be answered at Le Mans.
No,
Yeah,
no, because that car is going to be all tricked out.
No, but exactly. That's just the thing you're gonna have to have because
Well,
it's going
and
to need to be.
I don't mean to say it's going to be tricked out for
No, but it's
not
gonna be
gonna
updated a little
There's
bit.
going to be updates because the braking system will be updated.
Correct.
There'll be cooling systems upgraded. There'll probably be some modification.
Yeah, it
for
needs to
aero
la-
and
it needs to
stuff. There'll be
last
certain
24
things,
hours.
yeah.
You know, but that's going to be your prototype for what would what would it take to get a NASCAR into
Yeah,
IMSA.
I
I don't think it'll work because it would have to be its own separate class.
I
But then
think
if
it
it's
just
its
needs
own
to be-
separate class, that's what GT4 racing is supposed to be designed for
Yeah.
cost reasons.
So, but anyway, so they'll be on the they'll hit it up back up at WeatherTech with the Michelin Pilot cars, and I think the Porsche Cup cars are going there, so that'll be fun. Good time for that. So that's the IMSA wrap. It just unfortunately, a lot of racing this weekend. I think Formula One dominated the scene a little bit. I mean, as it should. It's been the class of this, class of the racing for the first 3 races of the season and the early part of all the other series. IndyCar, it's there. It just
second, maybe third.
it's second.
definitely
It's
second.
second. It's just and we were talking before the show, and I think Nate, you brought it up. I mean, NASCAR right now is just kind of a, I can't really get a grip on.
Yeah,
Is it
it
a
is
race
pretty
or is it
tough.
a show?
But the WWE,
I like the schedule that they have. I think they're going in a better
got a
direction for
great
that.
schedule.
But again, yeah,
for what it could be.
But the on-track antics, I think, is what's kind of wearing people out a bit. So.
And I'd even add, like, maybe the Cup Series doesn't have the best schedule, but what does have the best schedule is actually the Xfinity Series.
yeah.
They have an unreal
Yeah.
schedule for NASCAR, anyways.
But they're starting to get into the antics too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just
they need to get rid of stage race.
It's like the post-race antics. I don't really want to see it. I mean, honestly,
yeah.
I can't side with Ty Gibbs.
No, but I'm just like, if you want to have a
Get that
fight
out
because
there.
you want to have a fight like because you crashed a guy, but if you're gonna have a fight because the guy bumped and run me, I mean
weak.
that's been in NASCAR forever. So
yeah.
get over it.
The other thing too for me, it's the point system. I don't really understand. I don't.
Well,
I don't,
that's the
I
other
don't get
problem
it,
with
because
the
it's
stage
like
racing, yeah.
okay, you win and you're into the playoffs, all right, and then the playoffs, it's like okay, you got 40
But
drivers, but
why-
only 5 matter.
But why should it be when you're in?
Yeah,
Right, because, well, you know who...
Case in point, Austin Cindric right now. I mean, Daytona 500, it's a crapshoot. We all know that. First race of the season,
Anybody can win it.
anyone can win it because time the big one. Anyone can win it.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
No,
it's
it's-
not.
it's
No.
true.
It's true.
Yeah.
And he won it fair and square. He won it. But what's he done since?
Lose a Xfinity championship in the
No.
final corner experience?
No.
Just
Cup?
in the season.
Yeah, in the season.
In the
Nothing.
this
Oh,
season,
right.
nothing.
I-
Right.
I can't...
So is he
Like, what else?
Like right now, he could just be coasting because I'm in the
And just-
I'm in the playoffs.
Right.
Well, and with this season, it might turn into where there's 17 winners, and it's just the best 16 get in by points. There is that too.
Yeah, I don't.
Which I think
but
is silly.
it's just-
I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah, and
but
I mean, there's always the possibility for that, right? And then you get down to the end of the season if that does happen, right? Big if.
yeah, and
because you're gonna have the top teams. Like let's be honest. Like them trying to get the back of the field up to the front. It's just not. I don't think it's gonna happen.
well, a team like Joe Gibbs, right? Just for an example, they have 4 full-time cars and 4 very capable drivers that could win the championship.
Exactly.
And,
All they
and
need
they're
to
trying
do-
to fill those spots.
But all they need to do is get 4 wins. Each of those drivers get 1 win each, and they're in.
Right. There hasn't been a season yet where there's been 16 winners in this format. So I think this will be the first year that does surpass that amount in terms of list of winners. Because right now, I don't think there's any multi-winners. I think there's only been there's been different winners every single race.
Yeah. So next race here is on the dirt.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
On the dirt at Bristol.
Right now, it's
Who won the first one, Sean? It's your favorite driver.
Logano.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love him.
yeah. Because so far for the NASCAR season, it's
I think
Cindric,
yeah,
Larson,
anyways.
Bowman, Briscoe, Byron, and Chastain.
Well,
Oh no, and then Byron has won.
Denny
twice.
Hamlin.
And then Denny
We got
Hamlin.
Denny Hamlin.
Right before that. So Byron's the only one to win too.
Right.
Which Richmond was a really good race.
Tell me, Logano's not in the because he won yet. Because he won the Clash. He's not in the.
No.
Okay.
NASCAR
All right.
hasn't gone that crazy yet.
All right.
No. He won the. Oh wait, Logano.
He won the
Never mind.
Clash.
Sorry.
Yeah, he only won
Okay.
the Clash.
And then
Yeah.
Brad, don't call me the cheater. Keselowski won the dual one, and then
Chris Buescher. won
Chris
this.
Buescher for the other cheating.
Swept
The
the
other-
duels.
the
I
other-
was so pumped after
Other
that, too.
sweeting.
I was just
Yeah,
like, oh,
yeah.
500
You like
hours.
cheaters, Nate. You do.
No,
All right.
Bill Belichick is a great
He's not a cheater.
coach, and
He's not a
we
cheater.
had the same birthday, so
Yeah. Well, at
Guess
least
we're
he
on
didn't
it.
get stabbed in the back like somebody in Tampa Bay did.
Oh,
A2 Brute. Way
yeah, right.
to go, Tom. Anyways, all right. So that covers our racing recap. Let's just really quick. What's Nate? Let's congratulations
Oh,
on
thank you.
your winter tour.
Yeah, the
Indoor
touring
karting series.
Yeah.
I give you credit. Was it electric and gas or?
Yeah, it was a hybrid. So,
Nice.
So there's
Excellent.
different types of tracks
That's
where you
cool.
can go to. Touring car championships really becoming something lately.
Is it year round?
So there's 2 seasons in a year.
Okay.
They
do they do over the summer? Because I
Summer? Yep.
They do.
Yep.
I would find that the hardest point because a lot of people will be doing stuff on weekends.
Yeah, right.
Because it is a time commitment.
It is, and so is the winter. I personally I like skiing myself, and I haven't been in a while, but I could see the winter and summer being conflicts for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean the tracks that they added for next season is actually quite unreal.
Cool.
They added pit,
Outdoors?
and they added GoPro Motorplex.
Outdoors.
Yes.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I hear at GoPro actually, they and this is for you karting fanatics who like rental karts. They do allow they will allow karting in the rain.
That's
there.
amazing.
Yeah.
We had a good race ourselves at one time at F1 Outdoors.
Where?
This one mystical place that used to exist.
Yeah. It
F1
used to
Outdoors.
exist. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Used
I
to
could
exist.
feel the gray hairs coming out
Yeah.
of this.
Well, it's sad. We won't. That's a whole nother thing. We'll get some F1 alumni, Boston alumni to call in or come into the podcast and we can reminisce about some of the great battles.
There were some great races that came out of there.
There were a few great nights there. There was the infamous indoor rain race,
Yes.
which I think
Yeah, just for anyone who doesn't know who we are, we do a bunch of indoor go karting, and then we also do
rental cars.
Yeah, rental
We
karting, and
used
then
to,
we also
yeah.
do, and then now we kind of continue karting too. So
But
you get-
Nate's on the Nate's doing kind of a tour with a rental karting tour.
Yeah, touring car championship.
Touring Car
Yep.
Championship. Christian and Nate and a few others cast of characters, which will hopefully, if we get to that point, and they are looking to do a few other races in another series. Endurance karting, is that what it's
Yep,
called?
endurance karting.
karting. So they're looking to do that this year. And then Christian is going to be taking on for 2022. We're going to be back at NHKA. Looking forward to that.
That's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna go back to the tag class. We're gonna run tag senior.
Tag senior,
Run the road
and
tags.
we'll be running the World Formula.
That'll be fun.
So
Yeah.
Christian will be doing
That'll be
2
fun
on the
for you
weekend
guys.
The main focus will be tag for sure.
for sure.
And then if World Formula, to put some good results together, then if
Which we
I guess we'll have to see it. Last year we came in halfway through the season, and for the second half of the season finished basically fifth the entire time.
yeah.
And
Each race was just fifth.
yeah, more or less.
more or
It was
less.
either fifth, sixth.
Yeah.
I think I had one eighth in there. I was running third one race, and then I went to make a move, and then I had a line of guys right behind me. World Formula is super close, and it's great racing,
No,
and it's awesome. There's about 15, 20 of us in that class that run the Briggs World Formula engine.
In the
lightweight
lightweight class.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
15 and 10, right? 25 guys.
That's
But
still
everything's combined this year. There's
Yeah, so both.
There's not two. There's 2 classes, but it'll be 1 race.
Yeah, so there's a lightweight class and a heavyweight
Heavyweight
class.
class.
I run in the lightweight class.
And trust me, there are some of the guys in the heavyweight class who can compete with some of the guys in the lightweight class.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen some races at F1 Outdoors and even at Loudon.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they put on such a
and
great
then
show.
They do. They put on a great show at Canaan on the big track.
Yeah.
I still need to get up
Yeah.
there.
Well, you got to come this year, Carmania.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Oh,
anyways,
who knows?
Well,
so
let's see.
so we're gonna be it's gonna be a 2-card effort. We just the World Formula was put together. We got it all back up and running. It's all set to go. Did the winter cleanup and winter maintenance on it. So spring maintenance. So we're ready to go.
Spring cleaning.
We have a test this weekend.
Yeah.
NHK preseason test.
Up at
Loudon on the hill course.
Yeah.
And we the road tax has been pulled out of the
It's been
out of the shed.
Cobwebs are
Dusted off. The motor has been repaired and re-put together, and we have been assured by our ace engine mechanic that it is in good stead.
Yeah.
We do have a backup motor, so we're good to go there. I'd like to credit Rob Johnson,
knock
former
on wood.
NHKA driver, participant who's living in Colorado now, for the opportunity to buy that motor. And we do have 2 other World Formula motors in the shed and a chassis, which if we can figure out when and what we're going to do with it, could be appearing as a potential rental for participants.
So I'll be first in line. We'll see. We'll see.
There is somebody else.
Oh, tartar sauce.
And it's not me. I won't be back in the cart this year.
Oh, Sean, come on.
No. Unfortunately, I tried it last year at the end of the season, and
World Formula?
yeah, it's just
How'd you like it?
I ran.
Well, yeah, you did a race.
So
a
the
couple races
cart that we
before,
have that's a roller right now.
Yep.
When we bought it, I ran. Was it Cartmania I ran it at?
Yeah, it's run Kartmania a couple times.
So I ran
it did
it-
a race
I
or
ran-
two at F1 before.
Oh, the weekend
before
I
we
ran
shut
it.
down.
Was that the weekend Justin ran it too?
Yes.
In lightweight.
Yep.
So I ran in heavyweight. Justin Rusko ran in lightweight.
Nice.
And I finished third. I think that was that.
right.
Well,
Yeah,
the
you-
podium.
or
no, I finished
Yeah,
third.
yeah, you did.
I finished
Yeah.
third. Was that Cartmania? I think it
It
was.
had to been.
It might have been. I forget.
Or-
Anyways, I finished
yeah.
third. But the
No,
only reason
listen,
I finished,
that's awesome.
well, the reason I finished third was Rich Blanchard threw a chain. I was battling for like 4th, 5th, and 6th
Yeah.
with these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, actually, I was in second place. That's right. I was in second
Yes.
place, and
Shit, Sean.
yeah, it was. Oh no, that wasn't, because that was a combined class that day. Because
Right.
Freddie Fawcett, and Taylor Shaughnessy, and a few other lightweight guys.
Yeah.
that was quite a thrill having them go by you, on both sides. I ended up, the two front guys in heavyweight, like whoever was leading was pulling away, and then Rich dropped out, and somebody else dropped out, and I thought I finished third. I thought I finished 4th, and I came in, and had I known, the guy passed me, pit me on the second to last corner, and I was like, oh, if I knew that.
Yeah.
I just didn't know where I was. No, I saw Rich on the side of the track, and I just said, oh, wow, he's out. So I was like, oh, hey, top 4, top 5, I'm good.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I was standing there, and Mike Camara called my name, and I got a trophy
Hell yeah.
or a medal.
Yeah,
something.
but- well,
Yeah,
brought
it was
some-
nice.
Brought
No, it
home
was
some
nice.
sort- hardware,
No,
so-
but it's just been the but back then I was doing the whole indoor thing,
Yeah.
all year round. So
Well, Sean, look, we have a 3-hour endurance race win
it's
together.
you don't want me.
Yeah.
I'm junk right now.
that's a big-
It's
that's a
no.
big
I
step.
was.
It-
I. You know what? And it would take Kevin to go to a bunch of open practice days, which we don't have because it's F1. It's no longer so Bridgewater. So
I think if that would be such a great track for a touring car championship, outdoor or
It was a
indoor.
it was a fantastic. Yeah.
it was a fantastic whole
facility.
thing. The whole
Yeah.
facility was.
The- I mean,
even
the-
the rental carts were.
Yeah.
It was fun there. You guys we all know that.
Yeah, and for rental carts, they were relatively close.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
were a couple rockets.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But
You put those in the back.
Matt did.
Yeah, Matt.
Yeah, I mean,
Matt did.
you put him in the back.
he was
but they
smart.
still- yeah, that place was run some of the guys that were there were really good that
Very well.
ran it well.
And they did a great job
Yeah.
in the summer, you know, when we had to dodge the thunderstorms, how to get the
Yeah.
races in, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Overall, it was a lot of fun. It was great when we would do the open practice days.
Yep.
On what was those, Thursdays?
Tuesdays.
Tuesdays, and then they'd had league racing on Tuesday nights. So Christian would go from, you know, the Rotax over there. And run, but yeah, I think if I had a place where I could go and practice a lot, I need to. I'm just not. It's funny. You get stepping away. It just was. I was going every possible time to F1.
I mean, that's amazing seat time. You know,
It doesn't
No,
matter.
but
the thing is, it's like it's not. You know, you're going fast on the small tracks, but it was just the racecraft and learning how to brake and stuff. I was out there. I knew the line and stuff, but
it's just
forget
it's
it.
repetition and
It's
just
repetition,
and
yeah.
then keeping that mental mindset of you know.
I had a lot of fun. I love racing with those guys. They're all great, and Mike and his folks put on a great show. So, but no, I think right now it's kind of passed me by. So I'll be handling the wrenching and stuff like that. So, but we're looking forward to it. It's going to be an interesting effort.
Yeah, totally.
We're hopefully it'll be straightforward with the world formula. You know, it's like figure out the gearing. We have a good idea on the gearing and stuff. With the Rotax, it's, you know,
we're gonna have to learn the gearing again.
we got to learn the gearing again.
and
But
it
then
seems
it's
like
just there's a general level of maintenance throughout the weekend on that car, I know a lot of them are 1-day events.
Yeah.
But there is the general maintenance of the cart in between the rounds. So, you know, you gotta
prioritize.
check the carburetor, check the jets, all that stuff, and you know, and you think you're gonna have a ton of time, but you don't. So, and it's not like it's unfortunate,
especially when it's just us two.
right?
It's
and
not like having extra help and you have a dedicated guy.
All props to the guys that go up there and do it. You know, run the Rotax and they shift the carts by themselves. I mean,
Yeah.
I see what those guys do, and it's just like I have no idea how they do it. So,
because at that point it's like rocket science.
But that's
no, it's just being organized.
You know,
and
no,
guys
and-
are just thrashing.
And honestly,
Okay.
that's what I think gives us more motivation to keep doing it and doing what we do really well, because we show up there and it's just us two
Yeah.
running a cart. And even if we just take away trying to run two carts, you know, even just one cart that we show up and run, you know, it's just us two. And then we go up there and you take some of the kids or the guys that go and rent carts or run with teams, you know, and you're like, okay, you know, what do you just kind of show up and get the focus on driving? It's like, I wish I could do that too.
And where do you slot into where all these other drivers are? Because I remember one weekend where I had my own cart for a little bit, and I had one weekend where I was completely by myself.
Oh,
and
the first time you ran it, you mentioned that, and then
I did okay.
you did okay.
I
but
was
it
leading. I
right.
ended up finishing second to Robert Young.
Right.
And I don't get me wrong, I was elated with that second place, working all by myself, and I was just like,
you know what's funny is if you lost to him, then you lost to the cart that we have.
Not the cart. The cart. Unfortunately, no. The chassis is
the chassis is no longer.
The chassis.
But
the chassis resides.
Yes.
It does?
Yes,
Yeah,
Christian
I
has
have
the
it.
chassis. He's trying to make. He may make it into a sim.
Yeah.
It meant an.
I still have it.
It meant an unfortunate.
That's cool.
It meant an unfortunate end to Kanan in terms of hit a curb.
I just tapped the curb
The
and
tube broke.
the weld. No, the weld
well
just
broke.
mushroomed.
So
it didn't. The tire one tire just looked like it was
Yeah.
just slammed for camber. And it just,
it was a good race too with Christian and Chris Kars. So
it's
unfortunately.
Chris is a great driver.
Yeah,
He's very fast.
that between him, me, Chris, and Pat Dennehy, we always would run just nose to tail up at the full track at Canaan.
Those are some
and they
really
would be
good drivers.
super clean.
Yeah,
and it was super fun.
No,
but then it's
Ricardo's just ahead.
he would just.
But it's all like his. It's the cart, it's the driving, it's the motor. He's got the whole spiel.
Yeah, no, I remember Pat Dennehy. He's a very fast driver, and you know, it's rare he makes a mistake, very rare. And when you know, I have one heat victory in senior tag, and just, you know, I was able to maneuver myself past lap traffic better than he did.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. We got so we're coming in not knowing I mean, you know, I think it was what Ricardo, Mark Donato.
Oh, you're talking about the
Yeah, the
last
tag
year.
senior.
Yeah, I think it was Ricardo, Mark,
and then Alex Gomes.
Yeah, I think Alex.
So I think right now it's like Alex pretty much. I think Ricardo and Mark are running running different motors. Gomesy's running the Rotax. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
It's just going to be trying to
it's
see where the Rotax sits with the X30. And
if we go back to
Rock.
where we were when would be pre-pandemic. Yeah, we were quick. We've never run it at the hill course.
Yeah,
in the Rotax.
No, and you know, this is gonna be like out of left field. You know where you guys should bring your cart? Newcastle. I've driven on Newcastle. It's an amazing track.
Right. Okay. You'll be willing to drive the U-Haul van.
Yeah.
There.
I'll help.
Okay.
Any way, shape, or form. Because I'll tell you what, I want to go back to
So
that track. That track is unbelievable.
Where we're at, OVRP would be the next closest track, and that's still 3.5, 4 hours away.
Have you driven OVRP?
I haven't.
You would love that track a lot.
Is it
I
bumpy
would, but it's,
or is
but
it?
I've, but
we've
it's,
heard
it's-
various.
I
we've
got
heard
my
of,
first touring car championship.
Yeah.
No.
But we've heard
is
a
it
bunch of
bumpy
different
or
things. Is it bumpy? Is it smooth? We've heard a bunch of different
It's
stories.
a mix.
Okay, because I've heard for a 4-stroke, it's perfect. Like you can get away with the bumps there pretty much, but for a
with
Rotax, it kind of
two-stroke,
kills the
it
car.
kills it.
And just being on a budget kind of thing.
So
yeah,
I got to tell you, I've only driven it in rental carts.
Okay.
But getting a feel from it,
so that would be a 4-stroke.
getting
So-
getting a feel for it, it was relatively smooth with that. But if you brought the thing is, their curbs are very
They're high.
very high.
Yeah. Okay.
Because in the last chicane, if you will, getting onto
Yeah.
the main straight, you'll launch off of that if you
Yeah.
hit it.
Well,
Yeah.
that's
you
what
don't
we-
want to do
that's
that.
what we don't
You
want to be
wanna
doing.
do that.
No.
You know. So it's but
That's a. And
I
Well,
guess at the
okay.
end of the day,
Are
it's,
you-
it's smooth unless you hit the curbs.
Is it general track condition smoother or rougher than F1?
F1 was way smoother.
Okay, smoother or rougher than Loudon Hill?
Like
The hill course.
if you can remember.
Loudon was probably rougher.
Okay.
Rougher, is that a word?
Yeah. No, that's fine.
Yeah, that's
Okay, okay.
And then, so now going back to F1, you know how everyone would hop that curb in the chicane?
Yep.
Is it like that curb that you're talking about at OVRP?
It's higher.
Higher.
All right.
You don't want to do that.
That's
Okay,
that's
so
the
you
killer.
don't even want to.
Yeah, I mean, like
Because
honestly,
that one at
because
F1 was
even with
was
a rental,
tough.
well, with
See-
a rental cart, it was like
Yeah.
I'm on a second story. So I don't recommend touching it with a senior tag for sure.
so no. See, that's the
Because
thing,
if I'm thinking of the one, is that the one that's kind of like flattened a bit, and you can run over
where
at
the
OVRP?
try to help me with this.
I
The final chicane.
There's, if I remember the videos correctly, you basically come around a left-hander, and then it's this like right-hander that's right there, and I see videos of everyone hopping right over it.
That right-hander, like it's like kind of like a carousel-like corner, if you will.
Okay.
You're in the middle lane until it's a late apex.
Yeah.
And so you're in the middle lane for the most part until you just hit the I guess 75% point of the corner, if you will, and then just apex there, and then just continue on.
All right.
So that's good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, I mean, honestly, Christian had a little bit of taste this winter this past March, going down with some of the NHK folks and running. What was it? The NOLA Sim.
It was the Simcraft 24 hours.
Simcoin
at NOLA.
24 hours.
And by the way, congrats on the podium.
Yeah.
That must have been such a thrill. Like,
Yeah.
I just remember seeing all these photos with you
that,
guys.
it's cool. It was a 206 24-hour race.
Yep.
206 is
The LO206 Briggs and Stratton motor.
Briggs and Strata, which is a step below the World Formula.
Yes, but it's the predominant 4-stroke engine
That is
in the
World
States.
Formula is, I think, essentially just NHKA now.
Yeah, more or less. It's the more
Yeah.
popular engine up here in the Northeast,
Yeah.
but other than that,
Yeah, but the 206 is
outside of
coming
that,
on.
It's a great engine though, and the 206 class here.
I can put you in
is
touch with
still
somebody who
pretty
can
much the
get
close.
you 206 motors.
Yeah. So,
He knows people.
so
It's a
the
joke. It's an inside joke.
the
The Facebook thing recently.
the Simcraft 24. There were 4 classes. There was the Pro class, the Masters class, which is the class that I ran, and the
Heavies.
heavy, and then there was the solo class. One guy did solo, and he held the record for because he did a previous 24-hour race one of the previous years, and his goal was to 1 beat his record and 2 go 1,000 miles. He beat his record and ended up like
999 miles.
20 miles short or something like that.
didn't-
It was a good effort.
Didn't you-
but yeah, he ran
Didn't you
all
try
by
and do
himself.
one of the F1 enduros by yourself?
I did.
And you almost like friggin' passed out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh.
remember that.
So
No,
There's a
we
few-
don't.
I'll
we,
tell
we,
you.
no. We I just just for we
No,
can
just-
go back and revisit that.
Well,
You did try it. So
Yeah.
you,
I did attempt it.
You did attempt it, and I
But
was.
but I will say like
It's
even
a lot.
especially at the
I-
track
I
we
did-
were at.
So NOLA, I will say it was really smooth compared to the tracks up
you
around
run,
here. Even F1. I mean F1 was smooth, but like NOLA was really smooth too. You know the last rumble strip at F1 where you would kind of you'd run out a little bit and you'd kind
Go
of
down the straight.
Oh yeah,
come across. Yeah, but
So-
you know how rough that would be sometimes.
I would go wild over that one.
Right. At NOLA, you could go over any of them, and it felt like nothing. And
Really?
It would because they were
it wasn't
grooved.
as
They were grooved a little bit, but not deep.
And that was the NOLA kart track, right? That wasn't
Yes,
the
the
race
NOLA
track.
kart track. Yeah.
There is the NOLA racetrack.
Yeah.
where the Indycars raced
one time.
one
Yes.
time. But I'm just
Actually, today's the anniversary of that.
yeah,
okay.
in
but
2015.
But just for some context, and then so you were part of a 3-kart effort.
Yes. So
There was 1 kart in the pro group.
yeah. So there were 2 karts that ran under Apex Kart Sports, and one
all your karting needs.
One team ran in the pro class, and then the other team ran in the heavy class, and then we ran as NHKA Red Mist, and we basically just pitted under their tent.
Right.
But all of us underneath that tent were from the
pretty much
Northeast.
NHK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was all of us who knew one another, and it was a really good time.
Yeah.
At the end of the race, I finished 3rd in the Masters.
Well,
my
I
team
or we?
my team.
I
My team. So it was me,
Christian Abbott.
Ken Poulin, Rich Hemingway, Rich Blanchard, and Jeff Gutterson on
Right.
the Masters team.
Actually, those are some fast drivers.
Yeah, it was a great
Good
group
mix.
of guys, and when I showed up, the level of preparation that Ken had put into getting the cart ready. Oh, and then not to forget that we to thank Josh Bezio for letting us use his cart because
Right.
it was his cart.
Yep.
So the prep that Ken put in to getting this cart ready, and then just the rest of us to kind of show up, and just the added bonus of all of us knowing how to work on the cart like really well, added just to the level of experience that we had to go in there with, as long as nothing broke or anything like that crazy, we were pretty much good to go. And
And considering the last time that particular group,
yeah,
somewhat of group,
yeah,
not all the same people, but there were a couple folks that were the same. They ran at Orlando in the 24 hours. They all went down there. Thought not that kind of win. They just thought they were going to have a really good, and it was a mess. The preparation they were woefully, as I heard, was that they didn't get it right.
yeah. This time around, definitely learned a lot and went in with
It's a
the
learning
better
experience.
mindset. And
Yeah.
Well,
the
especially
first
your
time
first
you go,
24 hours.
correct. And
Yeah.
when they asked me to join and
was
run their
after
team,
Josh
it was
kinda
after Josh had to step
canceled.
away.
For business reasons.
Yeah, and then so they told me just come down and just worry about driving. And I got down there. I tried to help out as much as I could, but as well prepared that they were, I found a lot of time I was kind of just twiddling my thumbs because we were all, and this was all of us too. We were sitting there like, what are we gonna do? Because usually when we're at the kart track, we're always doing something
and I mean,
constantly. Whereas this, it's like you show up and we were so well prepared with 5 guys on one kart. But I think that's probably the other thing too is we had so many guys working on one kart, whereas we don't really have that luxury usually.
Right, and I think one of the things that we do well is we try and just stay after the basic maintenance on the kart.
Yeah.
We don't try and do stuff that we don't know. So, like with the motor, we just try and keep the carburetor clean, the air filter clean. We try and make sure that the fuel's mixed correctly, things like that for the Rotax. On the World Formula, it's just general maintenance. It's just make sure you change the oil, make sure you have a good spark plug, make sure.
Because ultimately that's what you want.
And don't go to the grid, slapping the tires on at the last minute. So everything's kind of.
Because I mean, ultimately, like that's what karting is supposed to be. It should be, you should be able to focus on just driving. Right.
I feel bad when I see guys like going to the grid and they're still putting their tires on.
No,
it's just something that we've kind of.
We've learned to stay.
I think with the two of us, I think because of that, like I'm just kind of like Christian goes up there and it's like, you got this. I'm telling him like, you got this, this, and this, and he's like, yeah. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna take the car up and warm it up, so I can go up there like 10 minutes early, and Christian can get straightened out, and then I'm warming the car up so when he comes, and then I see guys coming up and they're got the helmet on half the head and they're it's just I like I said, it's my hat's off to everyone that does it themselves. I'm just, I'm glad we kind of do it in a 2-man effort, but
you know what else it is too? It's, you got to get mentally prepared for a race, because a race in itself is a tall order, because you really, for me, when I go to races, I want to, at least a few minutes to be in myself to like, okay,
just focus
how am I
on
going to
what you're
map
gonna
it
do.
out?
Yeah.
How am I going to finish? At least have like a solid, like, all right, I'm going to get from A to B. That's my main goal.
No,
Definitely don't want to bin in turn 1, because that's 9 times. If you do that, you're most likely out of the race. So.
Yeah, but it'll be it'll be good. It'll be nice to get back. Hopefully, the weather holds out for the weekend for Saturday. Let me rephrase that. And then we hit the track first race mid-May at Canaan.
Yep,
It's at the short track, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I wish you guys the best of luck. 'Cause
Thanks.
I know you guys will kick ass.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be fun. Looking forward to getting in with the Rotax guys, or the two. I shouldn't say the Rotax guys, but the 2-stroke guys again.
Yep.
So it'll be fun. And then the World Formula should be fun.
Yeah, especially with what we've learned too from last year. Just going in with a better knowledge of what to do.
Yeah.
Right, and Christian, you're no slouch behind the wheel, so
no, and it was good after being out of the kart for 2 years. And because when we went to the first race weekend, we opened up our notebook and we saw that the last date that we put stuff in was 2 years ago to the day. It was wild.
Yeah, we didn't like last year. Like last year was mid-season we ran, and people were like, oh, you should get like the year before they should come, and it was just all the mask protocols and stuff, and it's just like. You want to go.
The world's in a different place.
The world's in a different place, and it just was not a good place to try and go and run and have to worry about. You got to have the mask on, then you got to worry about the cart.
Yeah. I mean, everyone tries to do their best, right?
Tries to do their best.
You want to, when you're already doing so much there to throw on a couple of additive things. Plus,
trying to remember.
I will. The only bummer to last year was not having. The rule was you could only bring like three spectators, or from the driver it was the driver plus 3 people.
That's interesting.
Something like that. I think the end of the season it got
and it was only and that's the thing. It's like you wanted in a season where the club grew so much,
right?
Like we were capping registration fees or entries, and you couldn't bring more people. But I think that was more of just them. All the guys that were running it to just try and
They had enough.
limit to them.
They had enough on their
yeah,
plate.
they had a bunch. So I mean, like, I get
believe it.
Yeah.
But it
Well,
is hopefully
and
this year
and it's you know
they'll let a
you
lot
know
more people in
it's,
too, because you do want some spectators to be
the
able to
folks
watch.
that like Mike and his team, they do a great job.
Oh yeah,
It's just it's a lot of work.
yeah.
I mean,
I believe it.
there's people like I'll shout out to Rich Hemingway. I mean, Rich gets up there on Friday and helps set up the track.
Yeah.
Things like that. There's some other people, Dave Nadu, stuff
He's a
like
good
that.
dude.
There's
Yeah,
all
no,
there's all
Dave
sorts
too.
of people that just get involved and that do it.
No, but it's a good group of
Mike was looking for
guys
some
at
extra
all.
help. Hopefully, you got it
they're
this year.
passionate.
I mean, I was,
Right.
I'm definitely, I just I was like, it was funny because when I was talking about this whole thing, I was like, oh yeah, and then it's just my job changed, and it's just like I just don't have the time. It's sad to say. I had the time before, and now it's just like it's a little bit,
Stretched.
Yeah, I'm kind of stretched, and I can't be in the, I don't have the time to take and do what Mike and those guys do to help them out, So, but I think they got a good schedule. Actually, I was kind of fearful when they were going to reduce it, but
Yeah.
I think they put together a good schedule.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, and there's 3 doubleheader weekends, there's 3 weekends we're there for both Saturday and Sunday. 2 of them are doubleheader weekends, and one of them is Kartmania,
So
which will be a
there's-
practice day and then a race
there's
day.
2 doubleheaders at Canaan, correct?
One doubleheader is at Canaan, and one doubleheader is at Loudon.
Oh, it says 2.
Yeah, there's 2
And then
doubleheader
the
weekends.
mystery event,
The mystery event.
we don't know.
We don't know, but unless that secret has gotten spilled somewhere else, we don't know.
Right. So it'd be nice to laugh out loud if it was an enduro.
Yeah, that would be fun.
But yeah, it should be a good season. Looking forward to it. It'd be nice to see some of the people and things like that. So on that note, or as they said on Top Gear, on that bombshell, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you'll tune in again. We'll get episode 2 out either in the within the next 2 weeks. We'll get another episode out.
Yeah, for sure.
Next weekend, next weekend's kind of a lull in the racing calendar.
Yeah.
Obviously
Right.
with
There's
the
a
Easter
space.
Easter weekend. But we'll regroup.
We'll have our.
Oh
racing
yeah, we can talk about
excursions.
that.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll put
Yeah,
out
we'll
a
have our
mini
test day.
podcast, and maybe we'll bring a special guest on for that. Or guests from that event.
Right, and look, the racing world is taking a week off because of Easter and my birthday.
Oh,
So-
it's all about you, Nate.
Yeah, no, listen, F1 really cares. you know,
F1
so-
cares. Yeah, NASCAR cares.
Yeah, they're right. April 16th.
April 16th.
Let's see. Nathan Lavender, Bill Belichick, Frank Williams.
Really?
birthdays.
Wow, just
Oh,
amazing.
I know. Great list of people.
great
What can I
list.
say?
All right.
TKC champion.
So, anyways, what did he say?
TKC champion, Torn Cup
Oh,
champion.
yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
I know.
Beautiful. All right, get that plug in.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, so thanks again for tuning in, and we'll talk to you soon.